Welcome. We'll open the work session for this evening's ISD 318 school board meeting. This is an open forum, and we do have a speaker. I want to read this statement so that we're all on the same page. The ISD 318 school board shall provide a specific period of time where persons may address the school board on any topic subject to the limitations of policy 206. All individual comments shall be less than 5 minutes. Any group of 5 or more persons must appoint one person to present the group's views to the board. Depending on the number of persons present, the school board chair reserves the right to set further time limits to allow participation within the allotted time. The board shall not allow negative comments in public session about individual employees or students. Specific factual information or recitation of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any issue that is not included on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. If there are more requests than time available, priority will be given to persons that reside within the Grand Rapids and Big Fork School District. We have one speaker that has pre-registered this evening. That is Gary Erickson. Gary, I'll ask you to come forward, introduce yourself, and address the board, please.
That's me, Gary Erickson. I'm from Big Fork and appreciate the opportunity to stand here and present something that's a pretty significant concern to me. Would like to give a little background because I think it's relevant to me being able to speak with some knowledge on the things that I'm going to say. I guess from Big Fork, I didn't just fall off the wagon, but I've been a resident of the northern Itasca County area since I was a little kid in 1947. I've been a part-time resident. I've been a full-time resident of the counties for the last 10 years, and for the last 3 years, I've been a resident of Big Fork proper. I have 11 years in the Army, Vietnam vet. Following that, or partly overlapping, I had another 5 years with DIA in the Pentagon. And I've got experience on Capitol Hill. I've met with senators and congressmen, mostly in defense business on the Armed Services Committee and things like that. For a while, I pursued my master's in urban planning, so I've also been active in city government in my working life. I've been on a planning commission and been on a committee appointed by the state to look at combining 2 cities into a single one in an area on the west edge of Minneapolis, west of Lake Minnetonka. I've raised 3 kids. One is a professional fire chief, one is an orthopedic surgeon, and one is a veterinarian. So despite having kids who are very accomplished, I have no idea what the formula is to raise a good kid or not. But I know 2 things I know for sure. The baseline, foundational, love your kids and provide a safe environment. And what I'm here today is to talk about the need for a safer environment in the Big Fork area, in particular, Big Fork area, District 318. I have served on a school board in that community that I'll be talking about. I wasn't on the school board initially, but an event happened in my life that stirred me to get on the school board. And I'd like to talk about that right now. I have to try not to get too emotional about it because it's an emotional topic. My daughter came home from school one day. She rode the bus. And she said, "Dad, there's a boy in the school who got a gun in his backpack and he was showing it off on the bus." And I knew the kid. My daughter was really afraid. She didn't want to go back on the bus, didn't know what to do. I reported it to the principal of the school, and he assured me that he would take care of it. My daughter continued to be really afraid. And so I went back to the school and was told again that we're taking care of it. Well, don't worry about it, we're taking care of it. But I didn't have the confidence with my daughter riding a school bus with what had happened, but I didn't know what to do. I thought about going to the police. I didn't want to do that. I thought about different alternatives. And I ended up, bottom line for me, I didn't do anything because there was a concern that if I spoke up too loudly, my daughter would be at personal risk. It would get around very quickly whose father may have reported this incident. The boy's mother was a Girl Scout leader with my wife. His father was on the school board, and he was a Boy Scout leader, and they lived only about a mile from our home. So 2 weeks after my last meeting with the principal, got word that the boy's mother had come home from work and opened the front door, and her son was there waiting for her, and he blew her into eternity. So I should have done more. I wish I had. I was concerned the boy could have used that gun on the bus. He could have used it in school. Maybe something was done, I don't know, but whatever it wasn't enough. And the community was a small school. It was about 900 kids, 7 through 12. So certainly not as big as 318. But people in that community, and this was post-Columbine, so it wasn't without an experience that had been in the public news. It was pre many of the things that have happened in more recent years, but there was a prevailing attitude in the school, it can't happen here. And it did. And mother was dead, people were devastated, the family was ruined, the community was stunned, and the kids in the school were afraid. So I live with this guilt today. I wish I didn't, but I can't get over it. I should have done more. And I should have gone to the police perhaps. But I'm here today because I want to address a similar topic. And it's not just that I want to be exonerated from having, learned a lesson, and I'm here to do something on this similar topic. But more importantly, the impact of an event like this, certainly all of you and your, being on the school board and everything are well familiar with the things that have happened around this country in recent years. So I don't mean to pretend like I'm, here lecturing you on something you're well familiar with as much as I am probably. And school violence is, at a level we've never seen before, and assault guns are easy to obtain, and the subject of law enforcement and the availability of law enforcement to deal with a situation like this, which might occur in Bigford, it applies to the school, it applies to the hospital, it applies to the entire community. A recent survey of the residents of Bigford prior to creating the comprehensive plan, school or public safety was by far and away the biggest response of issues facing the people of Bigford. There's 77% of the respondents said that was their number one topic, and that was higher on the list than by a long shot than any other topic. And I kind of got reactivated when the city, who I think it can be argued that should have the first responsibility to deal with public safety in the city, in the sense of, the school, as you know, is right in the city limits as well. But when American Rescue Funds were available in the tune of about $350,000, despite the statement and the response by the citizens, there was no money at all allocated to anything to do with public safety. And in fact, there was no hearing on how to spend that money or anything. So in my view and with my experience, I felt I could, not shout it louder or bring it up in more other environments within the community, and that's why I'm here today. City government, the hospital, and oh, by the way, I just was certified today as being a board member on the hospital, so I appreciate that in the election. But I'm looking at the situation as there being those three, the hospital, school, and the city, to being the three primary entities, along with Itasca County, and something needs to be done. And I am not here to say that I'm smarter than anybody else in this room and I know what it is, but I have an experience that I can't outlive. And I won't be happy, and I think we all need to think very seriously, are we providing a safe environment for our kids in Big Fork? There's no law enforcement in the city. If you call the county, and I don't mean to criticize them, I think there's a lot to be said about what the county law enforcement is doing, and I commend it for the most part. But I do know from experience of people in the city talking to me that if you have an issue that requires law enforcement, you'll be lucky if anybody shows up in 30 minutes, and then it will be one single officer. We can't leave our school exposed like that. We got to do something. And so I'm here today issuing from Big Fork a 911 call. And I'm in room 112. I won't let anybody tell me it can't happen here. So I got through that. But I've got some recommendations, and I'd like to hand those out to the board members of things that I think ought to be considered. And again, I add that I don't know more than you know about this district, and I don't have any magical answer. But my plea is that we work together as a community to find the answers to this serious need and serious problem, in my opinion. And some of these things that I have, if I may.
Yes, please.
Just, if you would take a copy and pass those down, but I leave the board with this. Some of them have to do with things that this board could do. Others are broader. I'm talking to other people in the community to try to get some real energy behind this concern and do something about it. I am a big believer in business plans and strategic plans, and I commend you. You've got this sheet, and no doubt there's more that you've done on your strategic plan than I'm aware of, and I thank you for that, but I see that it's going in the right direction. I looked on the website, strategic planning here, and I looked at student achievement objectives, another thing that's off the website. And I had to go to the last page of these three things that were posted on the internet to find even a mention of safety, public, school safety. So I think I've made my case here. I'll work hard to do something about this issue. I've talked to just about everybody I can. Rob Eklund, and he didn't win. I talked to Terry Snyder. I've tried to talk to the city council in Big Fork. Certainly talked to Aaron Saudi, who's the head of the hospital. And I've talked to the IEDC. Nobody has a clear answer, but I can't believe, as important as this topic is, that if we as a community can't somehow rally together, put smart minds, experienced people with responsibility together, that we can't somehow come up with a better answer for the kids in Bigfoot.
Gary, thank you very much for making the trek down, for your willingness to address the board. Thank you for your service in our country as a veteran. Very much appreciated. Any notes or comments for Gary?
Mr. Chair, board members, and Gary, just so you know that our Superintendent Gross has reached out to Joe Dasovich, the new sheriff coming on board in January, to start some dialogue about school and the community as a whole. So there's been some connection. I don't believe it happened yet. So we're going to start some dialogue and see where it goes with it. So
I appreciate that, and I stand ready to participate any way I can. I'm not the smartest guy in the valley, but I do have some experience, and if it's an ad hoc committee, as I suggested there, or somehow we rally the forces, we create a joint powers agreement. We put out a petition for, getting public to sign for a referendum that says we want to take the financial steps within the county to take care of this. There are things that can be done. Anyhow, end of my story. I appreciate it, the opportunity.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Maybe Gary, before you go, if you could leave your phone number with Julie, so our
Yeah,
superintendent can
she's
give you a
got
call.
it, I think.
Okay.
Matt does have it.
Okay.
I'd be happy to do more.
I'm sure he'll be reaching out to you and have
Yeah.
a conversation with you.
I've talked to Ken DeCoster, I've talked to Matt, I've talked to the people at the hospital. The interest there is high as well. There's a public survey released just last week that said in the past year, assaults on staff in the hospital has doubled within the state of Minnesota in the past year. So.
Gary, thank you. Appreciate you coming down, making this report, and we have received your recommendations.
Thanks for
Much appreciated.
allowing me.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Gary.
Absolutely. We have a report from Community Education, the Extended Year Programming and Targeted Services, Early Childhood, Family Education, and School Readiness, and Invest Early. Melanie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm going to get a report pulled up here. It'll be myself and Darla reporting.
Thank you.
Tonight. We'll take turns here. I'll go first and then she'll go second. As you said, that report incorporates a lot of things into one. So we'll try and touch on everything a little bit, but as you guys know, if you have more questions, you can always come talk to us or send us an email. So within Community Ed, we have a huge umbrella under our mission and vision here. So our mission to ignite learning through ever-changing opportunities. We do a lot of things under that umbrella. Our biggest thing is putting out our catalog 3 times a year. So we put out 2 catalogs that goes to Itasca County residents, 22,000 residents in this catalog twice a year, which incorporates all of our adult enrichment, adult learning opportunities, youth learning opportunities, youth enrichment, youth academics, free family events, family engagement, a lot of great stuff within that catalog that you have seen and been a part of. We also program after school academic enrichment activities for kids as well. It's Learning Academy program here and across Itasca County. This program is funded through targeted services, and more recently we've used some ESSER funds to offset and bring additional supports into this program, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. We also have a 21st Century Learning grant, and that grant has been able to provide us with after-school programming in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. I'll talk about those numbers here in a little bit. Then we have some other smaller grants under my umbrella too: Children's First, free family events, Project Read, bringing free books to the community, our Safe Routes to School grant as well, bringing attention and awareness around Safe Routes to School programming, and then our facility use rental agreements within ISD 318. So who we serve everyone. We are inclusive to everyone. We hope that everyone has an opportunity to take part in something within Community Ed. Last year, we provided 21,000 21,500 individual opportunities throughout the community. That was adults and youth. We offered 733 educational classes, and it averaged out to be around 14 classes per week across Itasca County. As we know, the year before that wasn't as great with people getting out and about and being active in the community. So this past year, our numbers have doubled in size with our participation, our classes. People were eager to get back out. Our motto this year was get connected, reignite with your community, get learning with your community. So we saw our numbers drastically increase, and with that, fees are coming in. We're able to provide more opportunities throughout the community. So these are our numbers. We had around 2,300 ages 0 to 4, 6,100 K5. That's our biggest group of participants across the region. 1,000 6th through 8th graders participating, 500 9th through 12th graders participating. And then our adults, we had about a little over 5,000 adults participating in the after-school academic enrichment programs. In 318 here, we had 155 different groups use our facilities. So that includes all of our buildings across 318, which estimated out about 57,000 hours in our buildings after the school day. This chart down here in the corner was last year's numbers, but they're hard to read, but they did double in size from the year before. The program that I focused a lot on this past year was, not that everything isn't important under my umbrella, we did focus on our Learning Academy program. This serves grades 1 through 8, and it was really a need with it that we saw within the schools of how can we get these students that had lost learning time due to COVID, how can we get them that extra additional academic support that they're going to need? So we were able to take our targeted services funding, our ESSER funding, and really build a phenomenal summer and after school program for these kids that just needed that extra academic supports. The focus is reading and math. Last summer, over on the left-hand side, we served 263 Grand Rapids students. We had 31 Big Fork students, and we had 46 students in our Camp North Homes program out in Hill City. We partnered with Camp North Homes and brought academic supports up to that program as well. In the morning is very academic based, and I'll talk a little bit more about what we did in the mornings. And then the afternoons was that enrichment piece. We brought in field trips, we brought in science center, we did life skills, arts, and really the recreation, hands-on learning in the afternoon. Right now, after school, we're averaging about 215 students in the programs across the 3 elementaries, Big Fork and Robert J. Elkington. So what is Learning Academy? I know this is hard to read, so I can sum it up here, but provide additional academic support. I've touched on some of this. Referral, it's a referral-based program. So we are referring students to this program who are below grade level or at risk in academics and social emotional areas. So it's not just academics. We do look at social emotional and their needs within their home as well. We're serving grades 1 through 8. So students in the summer going into first grade, just coming out of kindergarten, going into that 8th grade as well. We have licensed teachers, and they're meeting the needs of the students individually. So we are looking at individual data on these students to provide the best academic interventions. So we have the academic piece focused on reading and math, and then the social emotional piece where we're focusing on those responsible decision-making skills. You're being respectful, responsible, safe, and kind within everywhere that we are in the schools and with our peers. So how the students are identified is we're using our data in EduClimber. You may have heard EduClimber tossed around out there already, but this is a data system that the district is using, and we're also using it to enrich our after-school programming. We're taking that data based on their assessments from fall, winter, and spring, and referring students to the program based on where they're testing teacher observation and their assessment data. So if you can see here, we look at these students that are in the red. We take this winter data. So any students in the red during that winter time, we're referring them to summer. So by spring, you can see these students more students are in the green. However, if we did not do anything over the summer, we would see that red go back up. So we're continuing to merge that summer slide and hopefully prevent some of that summer slide, and also keeping those kids active and engaged with the free breakfast, free lunch, free snacks, transportation, and keeping them supported during that day when we know the summer hours, there's other things that they can be doing, but they're spending their time with us and doing academics in the morning and the enrichment pieces in the afternoon. This school year, we had 492 K through 5 students referred to the program that were identified in both areas, math and reading, needing additional support. So they're referred to the program. Not all attend the program. It is parents' choice, but we do have about 215 of those kids in our program after school right now. So I talked about some of this as well, but we use the FastBridge data, we use STAR data, we also have the teachers do a continued learning plan for any student who's in the after-school program. So this learning plan addresses the needs of that student. So when they come to the after-school teacher knows exactly where the needs are on the student, and we can pick up right there and really focus in on individual instruction for those students. We keep our class size about 12 students per teacher so they can individualize the instruction. It's Minnesota State Standards based. Last year we were able to add interventionists. So the interventionists did pullouts with the students and did an extra intervention with the students that needed the additional support. We had camp counselors who are students within our district who are going into the educational field. And then we had ESPs as well, supporting students in the classroom. So these students that were here were well supported and really worked towards their target goals on their continued learning plan.
Got a question, Mel.
Yeah.
The summer learning program, is that just 318 students, or is there students from other districts that participate in that?
The ones I'm talking about are just 318. We do run a program in 316 and 319 and 317 that's very similar to the same program. Okay. But every district has their own data that we're using.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, but so the student numbers I'm talking about here is just 318.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And then we did this past year, partnered with Ross Resources and had an attendance coordinator on site who, as we saw students not engaging or not attending regularly because it is only a 4-week program, we were able to call families right away, engage them, get them transportation if that's what they needed. We were able to get the students there and engaged with the program with the help of this attendance coordinator. This is the CLP that we use on the students. It's all in EduClimber, so teachers can fill this information out. We use data within this, so it lists the student, it lists where their needs are. We have 2 academic goals on the bottom for that student, so we know exactly where we can reach the student academically. And there's also a social emotional indicator area too, so we know where we can reach that child social emotionally if they need that support as well. So I talked about the camp counselors in the program. This was something new last year. We added, we've always had camp counselors, but we added the piece where we are working with the career pathways program at the high school, getting students who are going into the educational field and working with the college, getting students that are going into the educational field, and we are mentoring them. They get 15 hours of professional development with Minnesota Extensions. They're leading a youth development program for us. So we had 12 youth workers who all were going into the academic areas or believe they're going into be an instructor or a teacher, a career pathway. These students got 15 hours of professional development with Minnesota Extensions. We then weekly did a check-in with them and helped them lesson plan. They were assigned to a teacher mentor. So throughout the summer, these students, they got paid to work with us, and they helped us by working with their younger students. But they also were learning skills along the way and developing that career pathway and seeing if this is the right field for them. So it was a great program, a great partnership with Minnesota Extension. We saw great growth in these students, and we saw retention too. These high school students came Most of them came back the next year and were there for the second year of the certification. So we're gonna track this along the way and see retention and see where these students go. And hopefully they come back and be teachers in our district or come back and work with us in the summers.
Melanie, I'm going to be rude and interrupt
No.
and suspend your presentation. We are legally required to start a board meeting at 6:30.
Okay.
I'd like to take a quick suspension, start our meeting, and then come back and finish your report, which is very well done. Thank you. With that, I formally call the board meeting to order, and we'll say a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll pick you up in just a moment. Today, Board Chair Melissa Barr is absent with notice. Board Member Mindy Nuring is absent with notice. Student Board Member Summer Hawkinson is absent with notice. And Superintendent Matt Gross is not available today. We have a Student Board Member Lily Higgins joining us online. We'll look for an approval of the agenda with the addition of the remainder of this report under, we'll file it under highest student achievement.
So moved.
I have a motion, a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Thank you, Mark. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda with the notice with the changes is approved. And we'll go back. Sorry for the interruption. Melanie, we interrupted you in the midst of your report. Please continue.
No problem. All right, so I just wanted to touch on one more thing with the program. We are seeing, if you look down here, 90% of our students in the summer program are free and reduced students. So that is the audience we are targeting. That is the audience we are seeing. It is great to see that data and that we're reaching those kids in the summer that need the additional support. We also are seeing, if you look at ethnicity, 88% white, which is pretty accurate with our student population of 84% whites. We are seeing the 6% Native American population participate in the summer, which is accurate with our district population. So we look at that to make sure that we're reaching the students population that is accurate with our student population. The last thing that I just wanted to talk about is this program. We have a summer development committee working on all the details for summer, so we continue to enhance the summer program for students. And it is fitting right into the teaching and learning model. So the environment for learning, we're looking at safe environment, being respectful, responsible, the PBIS model, standards for curriculum. We're using curriculum that's happening during the school day based on Minnesota State standards. Evidence-based practice, using the data behind what we're seeing with the students and how we can continue to enhance that. And then the data for learning. We are using that data. We're also providing the caring adults, transportation, field trips, and that social emotional piece, and then that healthy breakfast, lunch, and snack during the school year. So any questions regarding community ed or our after-school summer program?
Great report, Melanie, and I know you probably got to go. Good luck in the hockey game.
Go GRG.
Thanks, Melanie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Darla.
Thank you. So Jan Rangel retired on September 30th after about 18 years with Investorly. So I've got about 6 weeks in here. So some of the information that I'm going to present tonight is basically just kind of where we're sitting with early childhood in 318 and across the other 3 districts of Itasca County. So early childhood family education, you hear that as ECFE. And in Grand Rapids, over the last couple of years, actually all across all 4 of the school districts that Investorly encompasses, it's been really kind of put on hold because of all of the COVID that's happening. A lot of those classrooms haven't, the programs haven't operated, so we've kind of got a reboot of that this year, hopefully getting kind of a re-energizing around those classes. We've seen the enrollment rise on that, so we're hoping to get some data regarding that over the next several months. But we've started, the Grand Rapids Library has reopened and allowed us to come back in here within the last month, so we're excited about that. And being able to increase the special events that are happening here in 318 up in Big Fork as well. So that's ECFE. Here's just a little breakdown of what the classrooms for Investorly, the early childhood classrooms look like across the county. So you can see that Grand Rapids is about a quarter of the classrooms that we that includes infant, toddler, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 5-year-old classrooms that we have. And when we look at overall child enrollment, it breaks down really about the same. Infant, toddler is the lowest number of enrollment across any of them. It's just because of the licensing guidelines for the number of kids that are allowed in those classrooms. But it broken down across the county, it looks about the same as the actual classroom enrollment as well. So this is 318 of kind of what the breakdown of what those classrooms look like by age. About 25%, which is really only about 2 classrooms here in 318 are infant toddler classrooms. We've got 1 3-year-old classroom here at the admin building. We've got the most 4 and 5-year-old classrooms, including up in Big Fork. We've got St. Joe's, and then we've got a blend of a 3 to 5-year-old classroom over at the IRC. So that's kind of the breakdown of what the early childhood preschool classrooms look like here. And this is the breakdown of what it looks like then for the enrollment. So you can see the majority of the children enrolled are those 4 to 5-year-olds with the focus on getting those kids ready before they enter the elementary school into kindergarten. So our current funding sources right now come from a lot of different areas. School readiness is the state funding for 3 and 4-year-olds. That comes in to the district. Early learning scholarships, those are based on income and need qualifications, so those come in attached to children for specific slots. The ECFE funding comes into the district for that family education, and that's based on the 0 to 4 census that we submit for the district, both here in Grand Rapids and at Big Fork. VPK is state funding that we get for children up at Big Fork. And then the other ones are the Blanding grant, and we're in year 18 of that. And we know that that's going to be ending in the next, at the end of 25. So that's really a lot of the work that we're going to be doing over the next couple of years is looking at how we're going to sustain programming and what that's going to look like and how we're going to bring in different funding sources in order to sustain that programming. And then some of the smaller sources include grants, tuition from families, some early Head Start contracts with Putaska. And so all of those together encompass the funding sources that we use in order to fund that programming for kids. Some of the early trends this year is there seems to be a reduced number of kids applying to the program. Some of that might be just because of the inconsistency of closing classrooms over the last couple of years that families have had to find other sources of childcare. There is increased needs. We've got to increase referrals for early childhood special education and mental health referrals. We don't have specific data around that, but all of the programs across all 4 districts are feeling that pressure and because of those increased needs. Just like all of the buildings in the districts, we've got a shortage of ESPs and subbing, so classrooms often are running short if we're not able to find the subs for those classrooms. Just what some of our partnerships, Investorly partners with across the district is we've been working closely with Anna Lloyd and their special education, both in Big Fork and down here in Grand Rapids. Like I mentioned earlier, we're that partnership with the Grand Rapids Library for different story times, working with Tracy Campo over there. an ongoing partnership with Kutaska Head Start that's been the primary with Investorly since it was started. We've kind of connected with Minnesota North and with that early childhood program over there. Right now, we've got 10 student interns placed in our classrooms, so getting that internship and observation hours with our licensed teachers in our classroom. That's across all 4 of the districts, but a large percentages of them do have a preference to stay here in Grand Rapids. And then we're doing just a lot of work across ISD as far as partnering with programs and looking at how we can connect with those other early childhood programs. We're looking at how we can coordinate screening across and help support all the 7 IS districts with the early childhood programming. So some of the upcoming things with Investorly are going to be that budget review and analysis and really looking at those funding streams and how we're going to be able to sustain the programming across the 4 districts. We're looking at contracts in this next year, both our teacher contracts and our ESP ASME contract are up in July, so we'll be looking at renewing those. We'll be looking at the plan to move to Murphy School, so all of our in Grand Rapids, the tentative plan right now is when Kutaska is able to get that building ready, our classrooms will move into there as kind of a centralized early childhood center for all of the programming within Grand Rapids here. And then again, continue to look at the IASC, just how we can coordinate services across IASC for all of the early childhood programming. Questions?
Excellent. Darla, tremendous presentation. Any questions or comments for Darla?
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Darla.
Darla, can you say a word about Blandin funding? What percentage of the program that might be that needs to be replaced
I don't
ultimately?
have a specific percentage right now, but it's about $2 million a year.
Okay,
So
it's significant.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
very significant. And that's spread across the 4 school districts, so.
Okay. Good. Thank you to Blandin for a lot of support over the years. And Darla, thank you. Excellent report. With that in mind, we have safe and welcoming learning environment. We have school resource officer updates from Troy Scott and Mickey Norris. Troy and Mickey, go for it.
Well, I don't have a PowerPoint, but I do have a handout.
Kevin Hoff is here too.
Well, I see Kevin here as well. Thank you.
Kevin is here. Make sure he gets-
Thank you. I'll need one for the files.
Thanks, Mickey.
I am Officer Mickey Norris, and I work for the Grand Rapids Police Department. I've been with the police department for about 18 years. Started my 4th year as a school resource officer this year. This is Officer Troy Scott.
Been with Grand Rapids Police Department for 17 years and the 2nd year as school resource officer at Grand Rapids High School.
I cover the middle school and the grade schools. This does not include Big Fork. That's too far to go to from the middle school. But I do cover some stuff in Cohasset. And then Officer Troy Scott does the high school and the ALC. So I just kind of put just like a quick of what we've been up to this year together for you guys. The first thing I'll talk about is we needed to find a way that we could log what we do on a daily basis. Because not everything that we do, we log in our police department's records, mostly because it's juveniles and we deal with kids. So us and our bosses came up with, we started doing daily logs. And I just grabbed 6 random samples, that's what's on the back, of just my quick daily logs. Never mind spelling errors because I just quickly throw them in the computer as we're going through. So that's kind of what we do. it's hard to keep track of the time, so I just, like, for me, I just kind of put what building, what it, like, label it, and then just a brief description of what I did. So that's just a way that that we found that we can come up with, because we do a lot of things that are not crimes and that are not, considered law enforcement, so we don't document them. And these things we're gonna talk about, just to let you know, are no in particular order. I just put them down of what we're done. The other thing that Troy and I have also been involved in is, we're working really hard with Superintendent Gross and the principals. We've redone threat assessment teams for the schools. This is all the schools, including Big Fork and Cohasset. Made new protocols, and we got other people in. I was able to bring in our local crisis response team that's here, because we need that psychologist piece on that team. And we are, I think, pretty much in the final stages of getting all of that finalized at our next meeting. Do you know if that means set? I don't think that means set yet, but we are definitely in the final stages. I worked on it all summer with Matt Gross and Principal Berg. So that is, and I don't know, do you want me to explain what the threat assessment teams are? Or
Yes.
Are you good? Okay. So what it is, it's the people that are in the school. This will include principals, SROs, and then you can kind of put, I know at the middle school, we include our nurse, we include a person from North Homes, people that will know the kids the best. And then we leave a blank spot open for whatever student that we're talking about, which teacher knows that student the best. Just so you can get, so if we feel like there's a threat that's made to the school, we call the crisis or the threat assessment team. The secretaries have a number. We have our own phone number that rings into CRT. They answer, they respond immediately. We all will get together and decide what we're going to do with that threat. And if it is there's a lot of things that go into that I won't get into, but to decide how we're going to respond. If it's not an immediate threat that is a safety threat right away, then we go into that as part of getting the resources that the student needs for help to get them back on track and from where they're at. Do you guys understand that?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So other things we've been doing, I set up all the counselors from the school district. I set up a mandated or like a refresher for their mandated report with social services in the county. They did that on October 25th. I think it was end of September, we offered, our department put together an active shooter training. I think some of you attended. We invited the school board, the city council, principals, from all the schools. We had a good turnout. It was a good training. We did that because we wanted to let you guys know that we do train for this. We do train in case there is active shooter. We wanted to have you guys see that we train, what we do, and how that would work. So that was good. We did that. And then I have worked on getting fobs, so every law enforcement officer in that area, including the state patrol that works in this area, can get into a school if something happens. Along with that, I'm going to skip the next page. I'm also right now in the process of getting quotes on putting police blue boxes up at every school, including the admin building, because it's fine that we can get into a school, but if Officer Scott or myself aren't around, nobody has a master key to get through all the doors. So we need to get some blue boxes hung up on every school so that if we need to get in a classroom, we're able to do that. So I'm in the process of that.
A blue box is a firebox. There's a key in there. Explain that.
Thanks, Troy.
Anybody
Thank
can
you.
have access to it.
Yeah, only us can have access to the blue box. And then to be able to, so we can get in the school and in the classrooms.
Mr. Chairman, question. Mickey,
Oh,
good question, going back to the active shooter training.
Yeah.
Was that invitation to all law enforcement in the county? It
Yes,
wasn't
it
just
was.
limited to the police department, was it?
No, we invited all the law enforcement in the county. I know, I think Keewatin was there, Nashua was there, Colerain, Bovee. I think Deer River was there as well. Yes, it was an invitation to the whole county.
Okay, good.
Everybody, and we had some troopers that came as well. When we do those, that you say that, we try to do that because we are not gonna be the only one responding to something that's a threat. Like all law enforcement in the areas will be responding. So we like to have that.
Thank you.
And then on January 23rd, we are setting up, it's Teacher Workshop Day. The staff and teachers have expressed they would like another refresher on the Navigate Alice stuff. So we are gonna do that on January 23rd for them. Also, over Christmas break, while the students are not in buildings, we are going to again extend to all law enforcement agencies. We're gonna get in the buildings to get people familiar with the buildings while the students aren't there, and also try to use our overhead intercom system that actually comes from here, from the admin building, has availability to talk over the intercom at each building. So we want to just make sure that that's working and that we'll be able to put that into use if we ever need it. So we're doing that over Christmas break. Now Troy's gonna talk.
Already talked about the blue boxes, nurses training before school started, I believe it was the first or last week of August, we did a training with the school nurses before school started. Kind of give them recent drug trends, what we're seeing, a lot of stuff that's actually legal now or considered legal, that's kind of over the counter, we see that tobacco dens and smoke shops. Some of the stuff mimics a lot of the drugs like heroin and methamphetamines, other things like that. Kind of get an idea if you see these students come in and they're ill, sick, kind of acting out of sorts, that it could be something along these lines. Some of the trainings we're going to attend, hopefully with the school as well. I know myself, some of the Grand Rapids High School staff, admin staff, Mr. Gross. I don't know if any school member, school principal Berry's going down too. I'm not exactly sure everybody's going, but the school was willing to get us down to a symposium down in Wake Park, Minnesota, for a threat assessment. So it'll be good for us to attend. On January 20th, we're doing a Zoom meeting. We'll be inviting some of the admin school staff to that as well for school board members are obviously welcome to come as well too. We'll be setting that up at hopefully each school or just one school, I'm not 100% sure.
I think 2 middle school and high school.
Okay. And that'll just be a Zoom training on covert media, school threat, and social media investigation. So kind of digging into the social media world and trying to keep us up to date on what's going on there.
Also, we're also involved in what we call the multidisciplinary team meetings for Itasca County, which that consists of, it's a monthly meeting, and it consists of pretty much all the agencies that work with families and kids in Itasca County. It's law enforcement, it's social workers from the schools, from the hospital, from our social workers from the IRC building, children's mental health, I think there's doctors, probation, like just all those. We do this meeting once a month and we talk about our families and our students and their families and if they need help, which families we see that need help, and then we talk about how to get them resources of getting that help. So we're involved with that. That's a once a month meeting. Officer God and myself are also involved in our child sexual assault team meetings. Those are quarterly. And we meet with attorneys, social workers, just to make sure like new laws that come up, equipment that we need for interviewing young kids, and it all ties into, I have tremendously found that it all ties in to our students in our school district of, it's very helpful to talk to work with the other agencies to know what we're doing. And then Troy's gonna talk about our vape detectors.
Last but not least, vape detectors. Last year I was hit up by Principal Das about the use of vape detectors, and I really didn't know much about them because I was a school resource officer in 2007. Vaping wasn't a thing back then, and I really didn't know much about it up until recently. Did some research into it. I was like, it seems like it's probably a good idea. And it was, principals kind of wanted to go forward with that. Coalition was made with middle school, high school, trying to keep everybody involved. And it was, how do we pay for this? I know we went to GRIP, Rapids Rising. We're able to secure funds there, but I know GRIP, Rapids Rising wanted to get some type of programming, like, okay, we catch a bunch of kids vaping, using tobacco products, but we want to help them stop using these products, which was part of their process. Right now, the vapes or the detectors have been ordered. We're at the mercy of electricians to put them in. Hopefully, they're up and running here very soon. And then Nikki can talk to you about a little bit. They already have a cessation program going from the vaping to the catching. And the high school is, we're trying to figure out where to implement any type of programming for these students being caught.
Ours is up and running at the middle school, and it's, when I talked to Mr. Holtman about that, it seems like it's going pretty well for these. There's not a lot of students in it yet, but, and what it is, the cessation program is if they get caught vaping or smoking, instead of, they have a choice to either take the school discipline or go into this, I think it's 4 or 6 week program about just more about vaping and smoking and the health risks and stuff like that. So we have had students choose to take that already, so that's good. So, it's been a very busy school year. I feel like we get busier every year as we go on. I'm not sure, do you guys have any questions? Kind of went fast.
Nikki and Troy, yes, thank you very much. Obviously, student security and safety is extraordinarily important to the board. Any notes or comments, questions?
Kevin, did you have something to say?
Oh, yes.
Thank you for your time. I'll make this quick. I certainly appreciate the school board and how we've worked together and throughout the years. A day like today is exciting as a supervisor of these two because they've done such a great job. It's easy to stand up here and tell you all that I'm proud of them. Like they said, they have over 35 years of experience. They're trained in, Mickey's a mental health instructor. Troy does defensive tactics, use of force instructing for us. Unfortunately, we have to do predatory offender checks every year, a couple times, and Troy and Mickey both work on that. So they know those guys and gals' faces throughout our community. So I think that's really important. Overall, when I go up there and I check on them, I see that they know these kids' names, they've built relationships, they know the staff, they're giving high fives, fist bumps, whatever have you. I also see them work with understanding with your students, patience. At times they have to be firm, but they're always professional with them. So, like Nikki and Troy had said, they collaborate with the school officials. We've had some unfortunate situations where we have to bring in principals, the police department, how are we going to handle this? We've done it flawlessly, I believe, so far. So super proud of that. They've worked on programs to avoid maybe criminal prosecution and do other sanctions to try to help these kids with like a vaping issue like Nikki talked about, or maybe it's more appropriate on the kids. They could be charged with a disorderly conduct, but we're going to work with the school and try to correct that behavior without using the court system. At the same time, on more of our serious cases and continual behavior issues, they've worked with county attorneys and found solutions through the court as well. I do believe that what they're doing today and tomorrow, this week, next month, in the years to come, their relationship with these kids is going to last well past their time at Grand Rapids Middle School, Grand Rapids High School, elementary school. So I couldn't be more proud of both of them. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Any questions, notes?
Not a question. I just want to say thank you for the work that you're all doing. And I appreciate the fact that you're taking the time and come and give us a report on what's actually happening, what's going on in the school. And I think where we were last year and where we're at today, we're in a much better place today.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You'll see us again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I did have the opportunity, thank you for the invitation to the active shooter training. I had the opportunity to attend. Mark, I think you did as
Yeah.
well. I know Chairman Melissa was there. I know Superintendent Matt Gross was there. It was eye-opening, and it was incredible to see the incredible level of professionalism and to know that in horrible situations that we have trained professionals ready to act immediately. It was very inspiring. Thank you for that. Thank you for keeping us in the loop. Thanks. Principals report. Andy.
Yes, good evening, board. Andy Forborg, Grand Rapids High School Assistant Principal and also the Area Learning Center Principal. Pleasure to be here to give you an update on the ALC right now. I did share the document that I'm looking at with Julie to share with you guys if you want a hard copy at some point. Currently, right now, the ALC serving students grades 10 through 12, Monday through Friday. I was here last spring to give the indicator report, and Fridays were dedicated to super seniors or students beyond their 4th year of high school. Due to the high demand of credit recovery, we have opened up Fridays to offer now for students that are in high school currently, as well as super seniors, to try to accommodate the needs of our students. At this time in the fall, we have had 5 students graduate in our super senior program. Again, students that are beyond their 4th year of high school. And in the next couple of weeks, we've got 5 more for a total of 10 that will earn their high school diploma thanks to the offerings of the ALC. This year, I'm excited to share that we have Ojibwe Education Services being provided at the ALC. On Wednesdays, we have supports on site for students that need that. We currently have night school offered on Tuesday evenings, like tonight. We have 2 teachers providing in-person learning for students, and we have one of our teachers dedicated to providing virtual learning for students that are in Big Fork. Staff, we still have a waiting list. The waiting list was gigantic to start the school year. It has dwindled down. It is more manageable, but it is still currently in need. So we have students that are currently needing ALC services during the regular school day, but have to wait another 2 to 4 weeks approximately to get their enrollments due to capacity. We're working on the transition to Southwest Elementary. We have had the staff involved in that planning process since last summer. And the design, the ALC staff, myself, Mr. Gross, were on site at Southwest Elementary in late October to do a building tour. And we are hopeful, with all going well, that the summer school for 2023 can be held at that new site to work out any kinks or issues as we prepare for the 23-24 school year. Currently excited to share about some partnerships that have continued with the ALC. One of them is with the inspection services of the University of Minnesota. We have connections with Itasca County Jail for providing services to students that are incarcerated for a period of time. And we have one of our teachers working with Grand Rapids State Bank with the Bonsai Financial Literacy Program. Excited that we have an upcoming collaboration with the Ojibwe Services that our students will be provided an opportunity to attend an event at the Rife next Tuesday. They'll be bussed over from the ALC, and all students, not just Tuesday students, will be awarded that opportunity to attend. So a lot happening at the ALC, a lot of good things, a lot of adjustments due to staffing changes, but we're accommodating now. We're trying to find creative ways to meet the needs of our students in 318 and throughout IASC that look to enroll there. Questions you guys have for me?
Excellent. Questions, comments?
Thank you for the great job.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting those students across the finish line. It's a tough task, and thank you for diligence in doing that. Please share our support with your staff as well.
We'll do that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Speaking of Southwest, we're looking at the Southwest School Design Development. Sean, are you here?
Yeah. Evening.
Good evening.
Always a pleasure to be here. We make it on a snowy day. Safely, make it safely.
It's no.
I'm here to share Short and sweet update, a brief update for the projects that we're presently working on. One of them is Southwest Design Development, Grand Rapids High School, bidding results, and really short update of where we're at with the Big Fork School project. So a good illustration of where each of the different projects is at. Southwest, we're working on, we'll be talking about design development night tonight, and we're starting to work in on construction documents that'll be coming right behind the design development tonight. Grand Rapids High School, we're presently analyzing bids and bid results and working through next steps for that. And then Big Fork project, we are starting in on the early stages of construction administration for that one. Like I said, quick update for Big Fork. Contracts are all executed for the project. So that's good, some good news there. We are well underway for submittals and procurement. Again, managing procurement risk is one of the things that we want to stay on top of. And as part of that, we have a pre-construction meeting scheduled in a couple weeks as well. And we're also working through, we managed to get plan review submission or application down to the state, to the Department of Labor and Industry. For Big Fork and the high school also are all underway, and we're working on review comments ready for that. So that's also another thing we're trying to be out ahead of. Moving to the high school, sharing some bid results today. We opened bids on November 1st, and the facility steering committee is presently working through steps for our next steps options of going forward. I'll share the actual results here in a moment. And the goal right now is at the next board meeting on December 5th. Is to have a decision for the board at that point. And then we'll hopefully start addressing some plan review comments, and then we'll see how the next steps go for procurement. Again, this one, for procurement risk, we have real long lead times for mechanical equipment related to that particular project. So that's one risk factor we're trying to find healthy balance for, and making timely decisions, but also making good educated decisions. Quick overview of the bid results. We received 9 bids overall for 4 different work scopes. We broke the project into 4 different work scopes. For the base bid, we are presently $1,292,000 over our construction budget at the moment. And we also, as you can see, we lined out several other bid alternates to try to, that was one of the strategies we used to try to mitigate the inflation. And fact of the matter is inflation definitely hit this project too, unfortunately. A lot of what we've seen for mechanical projects is inflation and cost increases that are hard to believe, frankly, it's to the point of doubling and even tripling. So we have these results. In the meantime, we are working through with the facility steering committee options for going forward. The options we have it narrowed down to now, and as a steering committee, we've gone through specific pros and cons for each of these options as well. And then we'll be working towards some decisions, like I said, for the next board meeting on the 5th. One option, and these aren't in any specific order, to be clear either. They're just have to put them in an order of some way. So there's no number, as you can see. Additional funding, rejecting bids, redesigning and rebid. In that particular instance, I should clarify that would postpone the project a year, given the duration for procuring mechanical equipment presently. Value engineering or reducing scope, in other words, and that would involve awarding contracts to these 4 contractors. We would engage them with our design team and reducing some scope, subsequently reducing their cost. And then we also have the option of a hybrid approach of value engineering and adding additional funds. So with that last approach, we would reduce scope that makes sense, and then add funds also and kind of come at it from 2 different angles. Overview for the budget. This is the overall budget. We presently have, I'll just say a little over $9.5 million of revenue right now for this project. For the construction, related to what we just opened, is that $7.2 million number. I know it's a little small on the screen. That the PowerPoint, I believe, will be shared with the board as well at a later date. I will open for some questions at the end too, unless we want to. Any questions on the high school before we get into the Southwest at all right now?
Work to be done.
Yeah, correct. Well stated. More to come, work to be done. And we are working on it in the meantime. That's the update we wanted to share with the board tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Moving to Southwest, that one's the design for Southwest is moving right along. Again, for design, we go through primarily 3 design phases: schematic design, design development, construction documents. Design development phase wrapped up, and we went through plan review and a detailed estimate of the plans we have to date. In the interest of time, we were comfortable moving forward with construction documents concurrently with that as well. We felt like we had it zeroed in. And then at this point, we want the board to have a chance to review that and the estimate that goes with it, and also approve the design development documents. For schedule, at the next board meeting as well, on the 5th, we plan on having construction documents wrapped up and ready for approval for bidding the project right away. And then we'll be moving into bidding the project as soon as possible. And this particular project will be finishing design, bidding, and then moving right into construction. It'll be a great winter project for local contractors here in Grand Rapids. Okay, so this, the design development booklet was shared with the board yesterday. I know some of you were at conferences and things, so hopefully you had a chance to look at it. You have it for later as well. So the booklet itself is quite a bit longer, so I attempted to point out highlights of what we're doing with the project for design development, and also shared the estimate too, overview of the estimate. So as the ALC principal stated, this is the floor plan. This is what the new floor plan is going to look like. On the ALC, on the ALC side here, we are doing minimal work, but this is an area that will be a great improvement. We're basically creating a new entry for ALC is going to be on this west door. And then as you come in, there'll be a commons area and then offices for the staff for the ALC. And then we'll have classrooms. A lot of the classrooms, we're not at this particular part of the project, given budget constraints and trying to be frugal, good stewards of the funds as well. Where these classrooms are in pretty good shape, so we're not looking to do any construction to them as part of this right now. We are asking for bid alternate pricing for some separate breakout spaces here. And then we're also doing, it's hard to see in this one, I know it's a little bit small, but hopefully you have the booklet there, you can look at closer details. We're also doing some upgrades to toilets here and here. And then that's ALC, and we're going to add a door here as well to kind of create an ALC wing, if you will. And it also allows for duress or lockdown boundary there too. This portion of the building is right now we're planning to have community ed here using the old media center. Well, that idea is to have kind of an open floor plan or open layout there and use furniture, cubicles, modular type dividers to make workspaces there. The gym existing is this space. We're not doing anything there as part of this project for the construction. It will become a usable space, whether it's a gym or storage. Same with this space will be a new storage. And then over here we have the IASC and early education and some more community ed spaces here as well. Again, these spaces and some of these spaces where they're in relatively good condition, we're doing kind of as little as the little bit that needs to be done, but not overdoing it at the same time. Trying to find a good balance of making the space a new space that's usable, but it's not getting a complete facelift, if you will, in some of these spaces here. Again, also a divider door here to kind of create a division from going up to the north wing. We have the new, and this is going to be basically the new administration space here. One unique thing is getting a little bit ahead. We're constructing a new parking lot in the northwest corner. I think we showed that at the earlier stage as well. Yeah, so we're staying with that right now. Everybody's in agreement. That's a good move. As part of that, it'll be a new main entry here. Right now, it's just a small egress door or emergency exit door and a window. So what we're doing is we're opening that window up and putting in a vestibule to kind of clean it up a little bit and make it a nice new main entry here. And that'll come into the reception area for the new administration spaces. We're gonna give these restrooms here a facelift. And then you can see as we go up, this is going to be all the new administration spaces here. This one gets a little more work because of the particular layout of offices and, classrooms into offices. But again, we're trying to find a balance of doing a good amount of work to create the spaces, but not overdoing it at the same time. What we're doing here, this is existing cafeteria. We're looking to ask for separate bid alternate pricing for this to create it as two meeting spaces or one meeting space. And then we'll have another bid alternate as to have a foldable partition here or divider that could be open for this to be a large meeting space where potentially the board can meet. Don't know that for sure yet. Or this could be separated to have 2 meeting spaces. And the kitchen pretty much gets left alone as part of this project, but then it also is a great opportunity because there's a kitchen roll-up door here, and that can be used to help serve those meeting spaces as well. One other change to note too is a change to the space, and it's a change from the last schematic design. This is what we're doing here. This is currently a door that goes into kind of that chute, call it the chute, I guess, goes down to the temporary classrooms. That door is going away, and it's getting closed off to be a window, and this becomes a conference room. And then for code purposes and for emergency egress, we're creating a path here and then making this the emergency egress door for these occupants here. And then as a result, and kind of segues into the one other thing to note too is this sidewalk, this is something we're working on, but this sidewalk will actually go to here, and this will be a new sidewalk with an accessible parking spot there as well.
Sean, question
sir.
in regards to the parking lot in the northwest corner of that property there.
Yeah.
Why do we have to do that? I know the answer, but it's more so for the
Yeah.
public.
Great.
Why we have to-
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Maduri. That's a great question. CD ordinance requires a certain amount of parking stalls, and it has to correspond, without getting into details and the minutia of it, has to correspond with the occupancy and the occupancy type of the spaces in the building.
Thank you.
Yep. So we are working with the city, and I don't know if some of you can remember way back to early versions of this. We actually were thinking about doing a parking lot here, and then also upgrading this. And kind of one thing led to another, and eventually like, well, there's a really nice spot right there. And then we're also leveraging, the school can also leverage that still too as parking space. This one got another city ordinance thing. This one got a little bit close to setback requirements here. So we just scrapped that early on and doing a new parking lot there. It's within our budget, which is also the good news. At this point, we did trim out parking stalls on that north side. One thing to point out as well, kind of going with, again, the minimum requirements to meet city ordinance for parking stalls, which is pretty typical from city to city. Okay, again, we go through a detailed estimate of where we're at. So we take these drawings we just looked through consist of 60 something pages. So we take that and we measure each space individually, and we work with our design professionals as well. And this is kind of a folded up version of that estimate and shows an overview. And right now, this $2,765,585, that's our construction budget right now. So we're on track is the good news. The early version of this schematic design, we were trying to be way over budget. So kudos to the design team, to Mr. Gross and the facility steering committee and staff, because we really worked hard to scale that back to get it within budget. And we're feeling a lot more comfortable that we're on track with where we're at right now. So that's good news. We found a good balance of making the spaces usable spaces, but also being good stewards of the money we have to use. Something to note is cost escalation. We do have a 9% cost escalation factor in there. And that seems high. And like 2 years ago, that would have been. But every time we do go through this process and open up bids, it seems like we're seeing this kind of inflation. And when you hear reports, financial reports, it's 8-9% still is what we're managing. And we also still at this point for design development estimate, we have one more round of this that we'll be going through in the coming weeks. We also do factor in a little bit of estimate contingency as well. Okay. The overall budget. So this estimate, 2.7 million, makes up the construction budget dollars that we have. The overall budget's here, a little over $3.6 million for, and these are all the other expenses we have, that kind of ancillary supporting expenses that go into the project. We're carrying $150,000 contingency at the moment. So next steps coming up, Southwest construction documents. Plan to have those ready for approval for bidding by the 5th. And hopefully we'll have either approving contracts for the Grand Rapids High School project or a decision of some other sorts. And we'll be working towards bidding Southwest. Big Fork procurement's kind of a real important one. We don't want to lose track of either. So we definitely keep pressure on that and working towards bidding Southwest and starting Southwest right away. And then summer of 23 is going to be a busy, busy summer for all of us. Big Fork School project is going to be going on. We're hoping to start that one again. I don't think I mentioned this earlier. We're hoping to start Big Fork as soon as weather allows, if we can get in to start the addition in the middle of May. If we need to wait until school gets out, that's fine too, but it'd be good to start that in May if we can. And then the inside interior renovations would obviously start after students are released for the summer. Southwest parking lot improvements and also the Southwest renovations would be kind of wrapping up in the summer. And then starting Grand Rapids Phase 1, summer 23, and Phase 2 is in summer 24. Any questions? I know it's a lot of information, so I was trying to go kind of fast.
Got a lot on your plate. I would accept a motion for Southwest School Design Development.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion from Ben, a second from Pat. Before we move forward, questions for Sean in this regard? I appreciate the fact that we built in cost escalation, given our experience with the quotes on the Big Fork project. It's good to know that we have that window. That's foresight is important, especially given the very tight time schedule that we have.
Just for the public's interest, Pat and I are both on the facilities committee along with steering committee along with Mindy. So we've been meeting every 2 weeks.
Excellent.
Mr. Chair, I just want to go back, and we've said it many times here at the board table when we've approved documents on these projects, going back to when we built our elementaries. This is part of our bigger vision, if you will, our bigger plan of reducing our footprints. And as we've talked here at the table and during our facility meetings, we will be vacating the admin building, and admin in the offices and admin will be going down to Southwest. So again, reducing this footprint here, we will no longer have this building, admin building, as part of our overall ownership of property within the school district. So again, we're just following through what we told the community when we did our 2 new elementaries, that we were going to continue to working on reducing our footprint and consolidation of our programming, which alternative school is going to be going to Southwest. So again, reducing our lease spaces that we're renting as well. And visiting with Kara today at her conference, I think she said 70 to 80,000, I think it's costing the district for renting that space where we have our ALC at. So again, overall picture.
It's coming together.
Coming together.
In the
Appreciate
direction
your work,
we-
Sean. Kent, appreciate your work as well. Thank you.
Any other notes or comments? All in favor of the motion to approve the design development signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Design development is approved. Thank you, Sean. Much appreciated.
My pleasure. Have a good evening.
Thank you. With the board's permission, we have guests waiting. The Rife Center Partnership people are here, and I'd like to move that up on the agenda if we can do that. Is there any objection to that? Good. Then Chantel and Myrna, can you join us?
Thank you, thank you. Okay, hello, everybody. I'm Chantel Dow, Executive Director at the Rife Center, and Myrna Peterson is our board chair. And we're super happy to be here to give you an update. There's been a lot of exciting things going on, and I'm gonna let Myrna go ahead and speak, and I have some info for you guys.
Okay.
You okay?
Yes.
Okay.
November and December is super busy at the Rife. And I know we have 4 entities using the building, starting with the school district. ISD 318 uses their activities meetings there. The archery club meetings are there. Student of the month presentations are given out there. Choir concerts and rehearsals by ISD 318, elementary through high school are all happening there in November and December. Band concerts for all
Thank
ISD 318 band programs. Of course, it's Christmas concerts now, and it's wonderful to see the improvement from now and then we get into spring. Next, we have the Itasca Orchestra and Strings. They've got a concert coming up now for Christmas. They have their lessons that are all held there at the Rice Center too. Local piano lessons, recitals are happening now at this time, so they're in the right. Grand Rapids Players are a big part of the right, and they're doing auditions for Cinderella now, so that's exciting. Right, dance lessons and preparing for the Nutcracker that's coming up in a couple of weeks is super exciting. Right, theater arts rehearsals and performances. There's kids in and out of there for all of that. The Rights Council filmmaking class. We started that recently with some grant money that we got for the equipment. And there are 5 people in that class, and it's really exciting to do some local filming. Class Act, bus in. School shows including Dr. Kaboom, which was amazing. And then we have Lightwire Christmas that's coming in for elementary kids that get bussed in. Outreach of our national touring artists. The Brazilian twins were here. They went to everyone in the middle or in West Elementary. Spent a couple shows there. Went out to ICC. Were well received out there. And then a nice crowd at the right too for the national performing Brazilian twins. And then we have the let's see, I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, the national touring Midtown Men was wonderful. That was a huge show. And Rock and Roll Christmas is coming up. Lightwire Christmas and Rocky Mountain High, which features John Denver. So from now till Christmas, it's just electric at the light. This weekend, of course, is Elf Junior. Katie Smith is directing over 70 kids in 4 performances. So Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. So all of that is happening there. Santa's Workshop is featuring a visit with Santa, craft and cookies and cocoa, and pictures with the Nutcracker sets. Kids will be invited up on this stage to not have parents and grandparents that bring them there, but they'll be able to purchase gifts in there and wrap. Little elves will take them into the Ives Theater. They'll get to wrap their gifts. Many businesses in town have donated wonderful things for the kids to purchase from there. So that's December 4th in the afternoon at the Rice Center. And then for this fiscal year, we have, we're dedicating a lot of our mission to people with different abilities. We all know that there are people that have quality talents within them that maybe perform differently. Our focus is to provide opportunities, visual and performance, for more people. We're partnering with Itasca Life Options, the Keesler House, and the special ed department here at ISD 318. We're fortunate that Galen Lee is coming back in January, and she will be a big inspiration for our kids of all ages. So we're excited for that. We're also fortunate to have the American Sign Language to be there too, so that we can enhance the opportunities in which people observe different performances for hearing barriers and vision and things like that. So lots of excitement, lots of things going on, and I just thank you for all your support and what you've done for us.
Wow.
Great.
Exciting things happening.
Yeah.
It's really,
Busy.
Chantel, you had more?
No, that's it. She gave a great
And
summary.
you've got little tokens and your thing inside are the little brochure of what's happening there. So you don't have to remember everything I said. And little sweets for your sweets. And whatever. So thank you again for your support. The forum is going very well. We meet monthly for that, and all departments have reached an agreement to do a fund to the Community Foundation for improvements that all 4 partners need. And we're just designing and exploring right now what that kickoff activity might be to get community support so that we can get new furniture, we can get all the things that we need to have to support the life. So, thank you again for your
And what are the
support.
4 partners are?
The players, ISD 318, Itasca Orchestra Strings Program, and the Red Branch Council.
Okay, good. Thank you for your partnership. Thanks for the great venue for all the wonderful performing events that we have from the school. The acoustics are wonderful. It's great to hear the orchestra and the choir on the stage.
Lots of traffic. There's lots of little busy feet in and out of there.
We even, a few days ago, showed the volleyball
Yeah.
Right.
on the big screen in the Wilcox Theater. So, yeah, a lot of cheering we heard in our office.
Appreciate the partnership, really
Yes,
do.
so do we.
Um,
So thank you so much.
Great piece for the community, so thank you.
Chantel and Murrah, thank you very much. Thanks for coming in today. Sorry for the long meeting.
That's okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that said, we'll return to the agenda, and I'm looking for approval of the minutes of October 24th.
So moved.
Pat
Second.
moved, Mark second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Approval of October 2022 claims in the amount of $5,485,228.59. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ben, second by Mark. Any notes or comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The claims are approved as presented. We have a consent agenda. Casey, we need to.
I'm okay here, if you're okay.
Casey, the consent agenda, please.
Thank you. Good evening, board. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have Grace Groshong, student advocate termination, Stephen Haas, custodian replacement hire, Gary Coster, custodian resignation, Paul Marchetti, boys swim coach replacement hire, and Presley Paulkey, custodian resignation. I'm recommending approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion from Pat, a second. Second from Ben. There is no discussion on the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda is approved as presented. Resolutions, item 6F. Approve the resolution certifying the results of the November 8th, 2022 election. Ben, would you read the resolution aloud, please?
Yes, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 318 as follows. Number 1, it is hereby found, determined, and declared that the general election of the voters of the district held on November 8th, 2022 was in all respects duly and legally called and held. Number 2, as specified in the attached abstract return of votes cast, a total of 15,288 voters of the district voted at said election on the election of 3 school board members for four-year term vacancies on the boards caused by the expiration of the term on the first Monday in January next following the general election as follows. 4-year term, Mark Schroeder, 6,700 votes. Melissa Barr, 5,493. David Marty, 4,915. Write-in, 1,114. Candidates Schroeder, Barr, and Marty, having received the highest number of votes, are elected to the 4-year term beginning January 2nd, 2023. The school district clerk is hereby authorized to certify the results of the election to the county auditor in which the school district is located in whole or in part.
So move.
Motion to accept the resolution from Pat, a second from Ben. Any discussion on the motion?
I would just say congratulations, Mark, David, and Melissa.
Thank you, it's a great honor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The resolution certifying the results is accepted as presented. There is a resolution authorizing the issuance of certificates of election and directing the school district clerk to perform other election-related duties. And Ben, can you read that resolution?
Yes, I can. Whereas the board has canvassed the election for the school board members held on November 8th, 2022, now therefore be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 318, State of Minnesota as follows. Number 1, chair and clerk are hereby authorized to execute certificates of election on behalf of the School Board of Independent School District number 318 to the following candidates, 4-year terms. Melissa Barr, David Marty, Mark Schroeder, who have received a significantly large number of votes to be elected to fill vacancies on the board caused by the expiration of term on the first Monday in January following the election based on the results of the canvass. Number 2, the certificate of election shall be in substantially the form attached here too. Number 3, after the time of contesting election is passed and the candidate has filed all campaign financial reports required by the Minnesota Statute Chapter 211A, the clerk of the school board is hereby directed to deliver certificates to the persons entitled thereto personally or by certified mail. The clerk is hereby directed to endorse, enclosed with the certificate, a form of acceptance of oath of office in substantially the form attached here too.
So move.
I have a motion from Pat, and a second from Ben. Any discussion on the resolution concerning certificates of election, etc.? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The resolution concerning certificates of election, etc., is approved as presented. We have a motion to nominate Pat Maduri to the Range Association of Municipality and Schools, RAMS, Board of Directors. We need a motion.
So moved.
A motion by Ben, second by Mark. Any notes or comments? Pat, do you have any?
My term is up at the end of this year, and it's just a renomination, and I still have to go through election process there with the Rams membership. So,
In terms of, for transparency's sake, can you identify RAMS?
sure, it's an organization that Range Association of Municipalities and Schools. There's representatives on there from school districts, cities, and townships, and our organization looks out to the betterment of the cities, townships, and school districts. Primarily, we spend a lot of time at the legislature lobbying for positive things for the school district as well as cities and townships. So organization has been around since 1943. And it's all encompass of the taconite relief area.
Thanks for your service to date. Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pat is nominated to the RAMS board. We need to designate Superintendent Matt Gross as the local education agency representative, LEA.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have from Pat. I have a second from Ben. This is done annually. We are designating the superintendent, Matt Gross, as the LEA representative. It authorizes him to file an application for funds for the school year 2022, 2023. The LEA, the local education agency representative, ensures that the school district maintains compliance with the appropriate federal statutes, regulations, and state procedures currently in effect, and will act as the responsible authority in all matters relating to the administration of this application. Any questions or comments regarding this appointment? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Superintendent Matt Gross is appointed as the LEA representative. We have policies that have been up for review. We need to accept the second reading and approve the following policies. 524, the Internet Acceptable Use and Safety Policy. It's been reviewed a couple times. We need a motion to accept that.
Motion to
I have a motion from Mark,
second.
second from Ben. Notes or comments regarding the use and safety of internet?
That's been reviewed by the board.
Yes, the
Policy.
policy committee, Matt Gross, Mark, and I sit on that committee, and it's been reviewed in depth with staff, extensive staff input. So thank you for asking. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of accepting policy 524 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Policy 524 is accepted. Policy 506, instructional materials. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Motion from Ben.
Second.
Second from Mark. Same note. This has been reviewed by the policy committee and it comes forward. Has had extensive discussion and input from a number of staff, including principals and others. Any questions or comments in this regard?
Mr. Chair, was it 506 or 606?
I'm sorry, did I misspeak? I meant 606.
Thank you.
Thanks for the clarification. Approval of policy 606. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Policy 606 is accepted as presented. We've had the report from Rife Center. School board representative, school board reports. Is Lily, are you there?
Yeah, I'm online.
Hey, Lily, do you have a report from current or upcoming events at the school?
Nothing huge. We had a send-off today for the swim girls, but I don't think we have anything huge coming up. So that'll be it for me.
Can you say something about the swim team?
They're all doing really good this year. I know that all the seniors are going, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a really good chance at winning state, especially with the people who are in relays.
Okay. Wow. Lily, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate hearing from you. Any, Mark, any report?
I attended a couple meetings in the past couple weeks. One was community ed, and of course, Melanie did a pretty extraordinary job.
You're not going to eclipse that.
I'll leave it at that. I also attended the staff development meeting. Probably the highlight there is Ryan DeBay is doing some really good work with that committee, and all of our K2 teachers will be Orton Gillingham trained by December. And I think in the past meeting, he told us about the summer training they did. And they have a refresher, I believe in January, for 25 more staff. So he's really done a lot of nice work and, working with the staff development committee. And of course, we attended MREA. I guess the highlight for me, there were a couple really good financial sessions, and interesting to see rural Minnesota is really struggling with budgets, and there's a $9 billion surplus at the state, and it sure would be helpful to rural districts if, our legislators would help
Excellent.
us out there.
Thank you. And at MREA, the Minnesota Rural Education Association, you attended, Matt Gross attended, I attended, Pat Maduri attended, and our business manager, Carol Lundin, attended. So we had good representation from ISD 318 at the meetings.
Yeah.
Very informative. Ben?
We had a facility meeting and the election is over, and it appears the Democrats have control of the House, the Senate in Minnesota, and the governorship. So there might be some action taken on that, and whatever the billings is, not only for infrastructure, but education, maybe senior citizens with Medicare, Social Security. Not saying that I won't accept it, but it looks good for education this year.
Good. Thank you. Pat?
Some of the same meetings, facilities, we had a Rams board meeting, nothing really there outside of, we're starting to set our legislative agenda at Rams, which we'll review this coming Thursday, finalize it in December meeting. I personally went and met with Ryan DeBay. He walked me through the state data information. I'm not even sure what the right terminology to navigate through that. And boy, is there a lot of data there, and good data in regards to 318 and stuff and that. So that was interesting for me to learn how to navigate through that and tap that data. Helps answer some of the questions in the community when people have questions about it and that. So Fringe Benefit Committee, which we've had some discussions here at the table, and they're still working hard on trying to come up with a resolution on how we can move forward with a different type of health insurance plan for our employees. Optimistic there that we'll get something. And again, as mentioned, attended MREA, and all three of us attended one in regards to property evaluations and how that impacts us here at the school district. And it was I thought both of them were enlightening to me. I learned something out of both of them. And the bottom line is that the equalization aid that the state gives us has not been keeping up with inflation. And that has a direct impact on the taxpayers. The higher the evaluation, the less equalization aid we get from the state, the more goes on to the property owners here. The reality is that formula needs to be readjusted at the state level. So obviously legislatively, we talked to MREA with our legislative lobbyist and trying to narrow our focus from MREA perspective on dealing with school funding overall and looking at how we can put money on the formula, deal with the equalization, as well as looking at our special education funding. As we know, we got that cross subsidy that's taking money out of our general fund because the money that we get for our special education is not covering the costs. So we're supplementing that program as well. So, and I thought there was good discussion at our legislative meeting there with with Sam Walsh in regards to setting a direction so that we're all on the same page. And the other thing I liked is that there's other educational organizations in the state. In the way Sam talked, it sounds like they're going to come together and try to work on something collectively so that there's a bigger, larger voice when they go to the legislature looking for increasing our general ed funding and that. So, and then went up to high school with David today and participated, if you will, at least listened in regards to Dale Christie's IB students and talking about the theory of knowledge. And David, I'll let you explain a little bit more on that. I would just say kudos to those students. I was very impressed. I know time was tight, but I was impressed how they put their presentation. They had 3 minutes to put a presentation on and how they connected 3 pieces. And I'll let you take it from there. So it was great. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we had the opportunity to to hear from a dozen different students on theory of knowledge, which is part of the International Baccalaureate program. In essence, International Baccalaureate allows students to enter college and university waiving their first year of study because of the depth of study. And one part of that, in addition to 6 classes, academic classes, the theory of knowledge class is this class that ties it all together. And it was impressive to see these and to hear from these students. They were really quite incredible. Also went to the Minnesota Rural Education Association meeting. And Pat, thanks for discussing the equalization, something that our viewers and our people who are paying taxes need to understand is the equalization sounds like it's equalizing things, but in fact, the equalization in some cases means that we're equalizing. The school gets a set amount of funding, but the equalization is how that's divided. Some of it comes from the state, some of it comes from local property tax. And the equalization could increase local property tax and reduce the state's commitment. So it's a very complicated formula, very complicated.
Unfortunately, we don't get equalized at all.
No, I mean it seems like the school is getting more money out of this process, but that's simply not the case. It's unfortunate. We have some work to do in that regard. More to come on that. I went to the, as noted, the policy review committee. Mark and I sat on that, reviewed policies. The endowment committee is actually meeting as we're meeting right now. They're reviewing grant applications. There are over $110,000 in grant applications, and the endowment committee doesn't have that much money, so they're trying to scramble, and that will be coming to the board at our next board meeting. Boys and Girls Club met today. They're looking at plans for how the Boys and Girls Club might move forward and hopefully find a home here in the in this building. So those things are out there. We heard a very impressive presentation from 2 instructors on health insurance options and opportunities and how that might come forward. It's a very health insurance for our employees. It's a very complicated situation as well, but it's one that as a school district we need to get in front of. It's been health insurance premiums have been eating our lunch as a school district for a long time, and we need to address that. With that in mind, we'll turn to Superintendent Matt Gross for, Matt is not available today, so we don't have a report. Meeting announcements upcoming, we have, I'm not going to list all these. We have 8 meetings coming up in the next month, including endowment, chamber, world's best workforce, and so forth. Those are all listed. You can find that information on the website. Is there any other business to come before the board this evening? If not, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much. Oh, I was supposed to say, Julie, do we have any?